Thanks for joining with us for our Friends of the Ministry virtual celebration. Yes, things have been a lot different this year, but we hope in these moments together that we're going to encourage you about God's faithfulness. Because I know I have seen it repetitively. We've seen it here at the Montrose Bible Conference, and I bet you've seen it in your life as well. We're going to share, much like we would do at our Friends of the Ministry banquets. Sorry we're missing the time dining together, which is an important part of that. But sharing stories about God's faithfulness and encouraging you in your walk with the Lord. We also want to remind you that we're here for you. As we serve and as we carry on our programs and events, we hope that you'll join with us. We thank you for your continued involvement through your support and through your prayers. It means so much to us. Well, as we get underway, I'd like to share a little bit of a story with you about a little insect called the emerald ash borer. When the emerald ash borer first came into being, I learned about it and thought, wow, what an annoying insect this will be. And often in life, we look at things and wonder, is this for our good or this for our bad? But we realize that all of life's events, God directs and is overseeing our paths and is sovereign over all things. Well, if you're not familiar with the emerald ash borer, it's a little insect that invaded our country several years ago and has been marching through various segments of the country destroying ash trees. Well, we knew about this a couple of years ago, and it was south of us for a long time, and then about 2 years ago it started getting closer and closer. And there's really no remedy to deal with the ash borer other than to treat a tree, and that's an expensive endeavor, and you can't do that with a massive amount of trees. And a little bit over a year ago now, the emerald ash borer came through the Montrose Bible Conference. And within a matter of months, you could see its effect. This little bug, this little insect, chawing away at trees, destroying them. Well, as we looked about managing that, we looked at our whole tree area and decided it would probably be good to talk to a forester or a logger to see what we could do. We could still harvest some of those trees, which because they become dangerous once they're dead and will be falling down anyways. But we brought a logger in the end of last year. And he said he would be here a couple of months working through that. Well, the cool part of that story, as he started working, that continued on and continued on. And when we came into March and we had everything with the lockdowns and the virus, I was reminded, you know what, maybe looked like a curse was actually a blessing. Because during the shutdown, when nothing else was happening, we found out that each month we were still getting $1,000 or $2,000 check that helps support the ministry through the emerald ash borer, which I thought was an invasive species, which indeed it is. But God intended those things for good. And in that moment, he reminded me that he is faithful to us. And though we don't always understand, we don't always see all the things that he's doing, we can trust him and rest in him. I don't know your circumstance today, but I want to encourage you to look to the Lord, to trust in him and to rely on him. If you've been on our grounds, you know that we have thousands of daylilies here. And those daylilies bloom a single day and are gone. And the Lord tells us to remember the lilies of the field, because just like he cares for them, he cares for you and me. God's faithfulness is abundant. Even in the tough times of a crazy year here in 2020, we can rely on him and trust in him, whether you live in Montrose or wherever you live around this great country. So trust in him, rely on him, and be reminded that a little ash borer that looks like a negative thing could be used for a positive thing in your life. I need to be reminded of that because often I'm distracted and sidetracked by things around us. But this is just one of many stories that we hope to share with you during our time together about God's faithfulness. So we hope that you'll stay a part of this Friends of the Ministry virtual celebration. We hope that it will be used to encourage you and to remind you, indeed, that God is faithful.